Marvel post-credit scenes have become absolutely iconic, with us fans always looking forward to them to see maybe the next big teaser for big villains coming up, potential team-ups, and so much more. But when you're over 30 films into a franchise, not everything you tease is gonna pay off. So here are Marvel post-credit scenes that went absolutely nowhere. Let's start off with one of the oldest and most heartbreaking post-credit scenes of all time, which is the teaser setup in Spider-Man Homecoming now 8 years ago. Of course, I'm talking about the scene where the Vulture ends up in prison, and who else but Mac Gargan himself, aka the Scorpion, rolls up to him and says, "Hey, let me know who Spider-Man is, tell me his real identity, I can help you, I can kill Spider-Man." Absolutely perfect casting. Michael Mando is an incredible actor, and I really would have liked to see his version of the Scorpion, but now we're over 2 extra sequels to Spider-Man after this film. I don't think we're ever going to see this come to fruition. Now, maybe I'm just coping and being absolutely delusional because I really want this to happen, but I'm not ruling it completely out of the cards that we do eventually see Scorpion in the MCU. I think it's make or break, though. If he's not in Spider-Man 4, it's never going to happen, but we know Spider-Man 4 is looking like it's going to go more street level, potentially Kingpin behind the scenes in it. I think there's a real possibility maybe Kingpin hires Scorpion as maybe like the side antagonist or someone he's fighting at the beginning of the film. I don't think Scorpion's going to be like the big bad, but I would really just like to see him in any capacity at this point. Another one of the oldest teasers set up in the MCU that this one honestly seems like it has a 0% chance of coming true is the post-credit scene of Doctor Strange, which is going to be 9 years old this year, which is insane. You forgot this post-credit scene contains Mordo, who was obviously in the first Doctor Strange movie, being fed up with sorcerers and Doctor Strange and everything. He thinks there's way too many of them now, and he has a plan that he's gonna kill and wipe out all the sorcerers. Like, that sounds like such a dope concept for a Doctor Strange movie, but again, this is over 9 years old, and it was even more insulting about how they had him in Multiverse of Madness, but as a completely different multiversal version of Mordo that doesn't have the same plan as the one we saw in the first movie, so like, why do I care about this version? Before I move on to the other post-credit scenes that haven't come true yet, these two are kind of particularly insulting to me because it felt like such an obvious setup for the very next direct sequel with Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 2 that just got completely abandoned. And the cynical part of me thinks this happened because the studio saw that they can get a bigger name actor like Jake Gyllenhaal or Elizabeth Olsen to play a way more famous comic book character like Wanda or Mysterio, and then they can just get that and make more money. Don't get me wrong, Jake Gyllenhaal, great actor. He was pretty solid as Mysterio, not one of the greater villains in the MCU, and Elizabeth Olsen was legitimately one of my favorite MCU villains in the movie. I just wish we didn't completely set up these other plot lines and then abandon them. If you needed one more reason to not watch the abomination of a movie that is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the post-credit scene has aged like milk in record time. It was a scene of Marvel going 110% buying into the Kang storyline. He's the next big threat to the entire multiverse. The next Avengers movie is definitely going to be Avengers Kang Dynasty. Don't even worry about it. It's definitely not going to get replaced by Doomsday. This is the most next time baby scene of all time because yeah, this is not happening. The only way I think this credit scene gets paid off at all, which would obviously not be what their original plan was, is if you have at the opening of Avengers Doomsday, Doctor Doom ends up killing Kang or like all these different versions of Kang off. But the complication for that is they'd have to probably bring back Jonathan Majors, which I don't think they do after firing him, even though he kind of got cleared of all the charges. Maybe they could just have him like turning away from the camera and have some other person playing Kang to get killed off in like the first 5 minutes of Doomsday, which would be a cool scene, but kind of sad at the same time because like I really wish we could know what their original Kang plan was for him being the next Avengers villain. Like, don't get me wrong, I am more excited to see Doctor Doom than I am Kang be the next big villain, but it's just so funny that this was like the big plot line being set up and just completely abandoned. Speaking of having post-credit scenes that aged like milk, Eternals has like 3 teasers after the credits that I don't think any of them are going to come true at this point, which honestly I'm kind of happy for. This is my least favorite MCU movie. First isn't even a scene, it's just the Eternals will return text, because now we know there's literally no plans of having the Eternals actually return in the MCU because this was just such a flop. The second thing that Eternals set up was Eros or Star Fox or the brother of Thanos, whatever you want to call him, played by Harry Styles. Like, honestly, this was a pretty funny scene. I don't think this would be a bad character to expand upon in the MCU, but where on earth is this dude ever going to show up again in the future when there was so little interest in the Eternals themselves? I don't think it's going to happen. And honestly, it's not that big of a shame. Harry Styles is really not that great at acting, even though he keeps trying to be an actor. And the third, another next time baby, is Kit Harington picking up the sword. You hear maybe the voice of Blade, and it's like, oh my god, he's going to become the Black Knight. If we can't even get a Blade movie made, do you really think we're going to get a Black Knight TV show or appearance anywhere? I am a little upset about this one just because I do like Kit Harington and I want to see him in more stuff post Game of Thrones. It seems like he's just completely disappeared as an actor. But man, Eternals was really just batting 0% with all their teasers. The post-credit scene to the Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't the reveal of Sharon Carter being the power broker, but it was her actually being part pardon and she's back in the CIA now, so it was definitely setting her up for the future of the MCU. And I know this was very recent, but it seems like we're not going to see this come to anything anytime soon because they just had the perfect opportunity to follow up on this and they completely missed it. It would have been so unbelievably simple to just replace Seraph in Captain America Brave New World, who's working right under Thaddeus Ross the entire time with Sharon Carter, and it would have made 10 times more sense for a million different reasons. First of all, the Falcon and Winter Soldier is literally the direct lead up to Captain America Brave New World, so why we abandon this plotline, I have no idea. Second of all, this is kind of a spoiler for a cameo of who appears in Captain America Brave New World, so skip ahead like 20 seconds if you don't want to hear it. But in Brave New World, it is confirmed that Bucky is running for Congress now. That would have been another motivation for him getting in Congress, maybe trying to do something politically about Sharon Carter. Would have avoided all the Israel drama and backlash around this character. Plus, I'm sorry, this actress was straight up just not very good in the movie. Like, every time she's delivering lines, it just came off so unbelievably clunky. Yes, this is a very recent post-credit scene. They could definitely expand upon it in the future, but this was the perfect opportunity. Now, who knows when this is ever going to get figured out, if it does. I keep talking about how The Marvels is one of the most forgettable Marvel movies of all time. Does anybody remember the post-credit scene where, yeah, Monica Rambeau is revealed that she's actually stuck in an alternate universe with a different version of her mom still alive and Beast from the X-Men? We know Marvel's going through casting for a new version of the X-Men replacing the original cast. Are we ever going to see this version of Beast again? Probably not. Marvel's absolutely flopped too, so like absolutely nobody saw this post-credit scene. I feel like Marvel could honestly just completely abandon this scene, which would kind of be funny if they're just like, oh yeah, Monica Rambeau's just stuck in another dimension, we're never going to see her again. It would also be sad because I do actually really like her character, but I could literally see Marvel doing this. Which one of these post-credit scenes do you most want the MCU to follow up on? Let me know in the comments below, and if I missed any other post-credit scenes, make sure to comment those also. We got some official news about Moon Knight Season 2 and what MCU projects he's going to appear in next. If you want to hear about that, click the video above my head right now.